I wanted to try out the A9 III with the brand new 302.8 and the 2X teleconverter. So I went to a rugby match only with that combination. Let's take a look at the pictures. First, it was an overcast day, which was perfect for testing with lower contrast light. I decided I really wanted to see how good the 2X was on this newest lens from Sony, and what better way to try it out than with field sports. I hadn't shot rugby since I was in college in the mid-'80s, so it was a challenge for me because I couldn't remember the rules. First, what a great sport. A mixture of soccer and football, but without pads or timeouts. It was brutal. I want to address the speed of the 300 GM first, as the autofocus seems to be much faster than either of the big two GMs. Sony's always learning and improving, so there's no big surprise that the 300 might be a little faster with autofocus than the big two. I bring this up because there are typically two complaints about teleconverters in general. First, they slow things down in the AF department, and that they're not as sharp as the prime lens alone. I found the new 300 GM to be uber fast with the 2X, and I have no complaints about speed, acquire speed, or tracking. I found the sharpness to be excellent too, and I didn't feel like I was losing much, if anything, in that arena. As you look through these frames, remember this is low contrast light, so the images should appear less sharp than on a normal sunny day when direct sunlight adds so much more contrast and pop to the pictures. I think that photographers that choose to purchase the new 300 GM should really consider buying both teleconverters, and with good reason. At much less than half the cost of the 400 GM, picking up the 1.4 and 2X teleconverters will get you a 420mm f4 and a 600mm 5.6 in addition to the 300mm 2.8 for just $1,100. So you get all three fields of view options for just $7,100. I've owned both the 1.4 and the 2X since they came out, but rarely have used the 2X in the past. I have the 600 GM, so I don't need to get to 1200 millimeters very often, and using a 2X on a 400 GM when you have a 600 GM is kind of silly. But for many shooters, the 300 GM begs for at least the 1.4, which is a sharp option that costs you no noticeable AF speed and offers great results in your images. I predict that Sony will sell a lot more 2Xs than they have in the past because of this new 300mm 2.8 GM lens. It just makes sense. I also want to tell you, too, that these images you're looking at were all shot on the A9 III as JPEGs. I then edited them in Lightroom and exported them at 4000 DPI. So they're actually only 2/3 of the sharpness that you'd see without having reduced their size. In other words, the original images offered even more resolution. All in all, the 2X on the 300 GM is outstanding, and I will not hesitate to use it in the future for games just like this one. For me, this is the difference between riding a motorcycle to games or a car because the lens is so small and compact. Last, please consider using my affiliate links in the comment section below, as it helps me to continue making content like this. Everything I've talked about in this video is linked below. One last thing, I really like this particular monopod for using with the 302.8 and the converters. This is a Sure P326. It has a bunch of sections in it, and it gets up to like normal height for someone that's 5'10 or even 5'11. It also has a foot that you can screw in to get a sharp tip on, and then you can unscrew it back this way and it'll lock, and then if you're on hardwood floor or something like that, you don't hurt anything. But this is just such a great, look at that. It's literally the same length as the lens shade to the back of the A9 III. So this is a really good, it's a carbon fiber monopod. I really recommend these. There's a link for this in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you.